Okay, this is the part 2 of Why Don't Oysters Share Their Pearls? And I am going to show you how to do a few of these problems. I won't do all of them, but you will be able to figure out how to do the rest once I show you this. Okay, so this says, and this again is about reflection. That's what this whole sheet, Oysters Sharing Their Pearls, it's all about reflection. So here it says, reflect the given image and find the new coordinates below. Okay, so here's our given image, and we're going to reflect that, and it tells us how to reflect it. So for here it says reflect it over the x-axis, which this axis right here is the x-axis. And then it says, what are the new coordinates for A prime? And so it's not asking us for the coordinates for the entire shape. It's just asking us, where does A end up after we've reflected it over the x-axis? Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and use the tracing paper. I'm going to trace my original shape, and I'm going to write A on it. And then I'm going to put a dotted line on the line of reflection, which is the x-axis. Okay, so now that I've done that, I am going to flip it over the x-axis and line everything back up again. Okay, and now I can see that I wrote an A on this corner so I could see where the A would land. And it looks like it's right there. And so I can just bend back the paper and make sure that I put a point there. And then I'm going to label that A, so I'll know where it is. So I reflected this square over the x-axis, and then I found out where A landed, and now I've labeled A. So now I can find out what are the new coordinates for A prime. So that's actually A prime, because it's not A. A is still up here. This is A prime. Okay, what are the new coordinates? Well, let's see. First of all, it's going to be a negative x. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. And then let's see how far I have to go down. So it's going to be a negative y too. -5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be -5 for the y also. So the x was -5. And the y-coordinate was also -5. Okay, so the next thing it says is reflect over the y-axis. Okay, so this time it's going to be a little different. So here's my original, and this time it says, what are the new coordinates for B prime? Okay, so this time I'm going to write B. And I'm going to reflect over the y-axis, which is the one that goes up and down. So here, I think I'll do it in another color just so we don't get confused. So there is my new line of reflection. And I'm going to reflect it over this line to find out where B ends up. So now I'm going to flip it over the line of reflection and line it back up again. And I can see that the B ends up over here. And so I'm going to just gently bend this back and put a little dot where the B is, and I'll label that B prime. Okay, so now I know where B prime is, and I can look and see what are the new coordinates for B prime. Okay, so that's on the x, it's a +2, and it looks like it's going to be a positive y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the x-coordinate was 2, and the y-coordinate was also a positive number, and it was 5. Okay, so that's how you would do the same thing oh, for these are a little trickier. So x is equal to 1. So the way you would find that line of reflection is you would find out where x is equal to 1. It's right there. And then you have to draw a line where x is always equal to 1. And so that is going to be right here. This is a line where x is always equal to 1. All right, so that's your line of reflection this time. What are the new coordinates for C prime? Well, it's the same thing with this, only here's our new line of reflection, which is right here. And we're looking for the C this time. Okay, so now I lift it up and I match up that line. And I look for the C and then bend this back and make a mark where C prime is supposed to go. Okay, so then I just look at this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 for the X, and then 1, 2 for Y. So my new coordinates are a positive Y, or positive X of 4, and a positive Y of 2. Okay, so you'll be doing the same thing over here. And just be careful of these where it says X is equal to 1. So that's the line where x is equal to 1. And where y is equal to 1, that would be there. And then everywhere along this line is where y is equal to 1. And everywhere along this line is where x is equal to 1. Okay, and once you've found these coordinates, then you just find them down here and you match up the letter with the coordinate to this place, and then you would fill in the letter down below. Okay, so that's how you do Why Don't Oysters Share Their Pearls?